Hello everyone, Craig here. Welcome to the channel. And today's video is going to be about how we create this split layout. Specifically, the tricky bit is getting, we got the image taking up 50% of the width. We got this kind of section here taking up 50% of the width. But what we want to do is get this content here to be perfectly aligned with our content below. That might not be what you're trying to achieve. You might just be looking for a pure 50-50 split and you've got a full content width, or you perhaps might be looking to have this over here anyway. And if that's the case, it's a little easier to do than this. But getting this layout is not as hard as some might think it is. I've seen a couple of these videos that have, in my view, overcomplicated this. The better one was Kevin Geary's video, which was, I think, I wouldn't say it's any more difficult to do than what I'm doing here at all. It's just that it relies on his ACSS framework, the advanced CSS framework that he obviously created and markets, and that's fine. If you got that, then you can follow along Kevin's video. In fact, I might even put a link to it below so that you can kind of go and watch that and see how you would do it using ACSS. I'm doing this with no framework. I say no framework just for transparency. There is a framework installed on my instance here, and it is controlling this layout here. There's some variables and what have you from that, which is controlling this filler content below. But the hero section itself, we're going to just do all with vanilla CSS using variables and values, and as we would in the absence of such a framework. So if that interests you, then that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to give you a quick whistle-stop tour of the layout in a bit more of a visual way. Obviously, this shows you what the outcome is, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you sort of how we get here with a bit of a visual aid. So this is that layout above in a bit of a wireframe perspective, just to show you the elements that are in place that allow us to do this. So in the above and in this example here, we've got a section, we've got a container, and we've got two blocks side by side making up the two columns, and then each of those blocks has got some content. On this side it's an image, and this side it's our text, our header, our tagline, our buttons. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do this a little bit different in the live demonstration, because after I've done that, I realized I don't need this container. That's just extra. It's not causing any harm really, but it's more, it's more content on the page than we really need. When it comes to loading our page and performance, this isn't going to have a massive impact all by itself, but we just need to be mindful about when we're building our pages, are we putting more than we want on there? Because there's a saying that my Uncle Colin used to use, and that was look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. And it's the same principle in web development. Little things on their own don't really add up to much. You can't buy much with a penny, but if you look after those pennies, soon you've got pounds. And when you've got pounds, you can actually buy something. And so, yes, we want to, wherever we can, limit what we're adding to the page. Don't remove things you need, but if you don't need it, don't put it there. And I was a bit on autopilot when I did this, because typically speaking, it's fairly common practice, especially in the Bricks community, I think, is we have this section, we have this container, and then we put our content within that container. And I was on autopilot. On reflection, a little bit of refactoring, and we can remove this red area and just have our columns assigned to the section directly. The important thing is referring to the container as is in this description here, but we'll shift this to the section. The container is set out as a grid with two columns, so repeat 2, 1 FR. So we've got two columns, and then within the left column is the tricky one. The right one, we just put an image and get it to be 100% of the width, and we flex grow, and this will just and what else we do? Object fit, it's got to be set to cover, so that this just flexes and grows and moves with our content. This is a little bit trickier. We need to get it to be in line with this content down here. So this column container, I have to apologize, my dog is snoring. He's having a little nap. It's a bit warm here today, and he's having a bit of a nap, and he's a snorer. what we say, this content container is a flex. We've got align items to the right, and then we're setting the width of this to be half of our content width. In bricks, by default, that's 1100 pixels, so this is set to 550 pixels. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so that's kind of like a little whistle stop tour of what we're kind of the layout and the visualization, the layout and the way it's going to look. Down here, I'm just going to demonstrate as well. We can flip this really easily. We will just, you know, change our content around, and we will change some gutters, and that's pretty much it. You know, it's a really easy thing to flip around and change. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. But before I do, if this does interest you and you do want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe and turn on those notifications. All right, let's get on with it, is it? Right, so let's go into bricks, and what we're going to do is we're going to leave that there because that's fine. I'm going to leave that there as well so we can see it, how it looks later on. But what I am going to do is I'm going to delete this. So we've got no hero at the moment, other than the ones we've got down here for demonstration purposes and kind of reference points, but we've got no hero section here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by inserting a new section. Let's not make sure we're not inserting it into another section. So let's do that. We're going to have to move it up to the top. Let's put that up there. Right, so here we go. And I said I was going to try and do this without the container, so let's do that. Let's remove. What are we doing, Craig? We just need to press delete there, you imbecile. So that's that. So let's go into our section. There's our section ready to go. Go to the content. Let's make sure we set the display property to grid. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say repeat. And obviously repeat is spelled with an R. 21FR. Okay, so that should give us 2 columns. There's not a lot of anything going on in there at the moment, but that's fine, because what we will also do is what we need to do is go over here, and at the moment there's some padding in place, so let's remove all padding. So now we've got 2 columns, perfect, with a middle aligned in the middle, yeah? So that's our grid. So that's that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 blocks. So there we go, we've got 2 blocks. Let's start off with doing the image. And so what we're going to do is in that one we're going to put an image in place. And there we go, there's that. Where's our content? Let's go and select this image. Insert that. Right, and we're going to leave that alone for a minute. We're going to come back to that and play around with that a little bit later on. On this left one, we're going to insert another block. What am I doing? Block. There we go. So now we've got a block in a block there. So let's call this, let's give this a name, content, image. I hate, so we need to have something in there. So image container, let's do this as content container, or wrapper, I'm going to call them actually, wrapper, content wrapper, and image wrapper. I know this is kind of like, you know, come on. The reason why I'm doing that is I am going to give these classes, because that's the proper thing to do later on, and we are going to cheat with that. I am going to use a plugin for doing the classes just to make it easier and quicker. But other than that, you know, you can very easily make your classes the good old-fashioned way. So content wrapper, let's give this a name of content, and that's already got image, and let's call this hero section. Yes, let's do that. Okay. Is that all we need? Yep. So the content wrapper here is, let's go and put some content in there. Let's just select the right thing first, the content. Let's go and put a heading in there, some text. I tend to put my call to action buttons in a block, so I can have multiple buttons if I want, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. So there's that. So let's expand this out so we can select that block and insert 2 buttons. All right, let's sort out that block a little bit. That's should be an easy bit. We want column gap here, and I'm just going to say 1 rem. There we go. That's that done. And then what we're going to want to do with, there's that. So what we're going to want to do here, we've got this set up as flex is fine. We want to switch on, we want that to be center aligned. Well, we don't want that to be center aligned, so we want that to be left aligned there. This is the content that we want to display. But the content wrapper, however, so we'll come back to making, let's do that now, sorry, let's just do that now. So the quick and dirty way of doing this is setting the width on it as, we're going to do, let's hide this a minute, so we got the full width and we can appreciate what's going on a bit more. So at the moment, we've got, up in the top left hand corner, it's broken outside of this here, yeah? So let's go and set a width, do a calculated width of, sorry, we're not going to do a calculated width yet. We're going to do just 550 pixels because our page is 1100 pixels wide. And look, it's still broken out. It's over on the left. Well, that's fine. That is. Let's go and open up our structure again. Let's go to the wrapper for that. Yes. And I'm going to close it again just so we can see this happening. So we've selected this outer wrapper now. And we're going to want to do a couple of things with this. The first thing we want to do is we're going to want to center align it. So this here is this justify content, and this is align items, okay? So justify content is center, and we want to do align items to end, and now it's in alignment. Yeah, we're exactly where we want to be, just about. The only issue we've got is there's no gutter over on the right here, and when we bring this in, let's open this up again, we'll see that we haven't got adequate gutter over here. So will this, yeah, so we got no gutter on the left there. All right, so we want to make sure that we've got a gutter. And so the way we do that is to deal with the gutter, the page gutter over here, we want to do that on the content wrapper. And all we're going to do is we're going to add, this is 17.5 pixels from here. I haven't set it in a pixels. That's a core framework. The way it comes through the bricks, it displays it in the pixel value, but it's actually a variable. I think is like space M for medium. So I think that's what the gutter is there, space M. But it doesn't. I'll show you because I'm wittering on you, and so padding. It says 17.5, but really, in core framework that says space M is the variable. So that's a little bit of a frustration with core framework. I don't know what ACSS is like, but core framework, that's the way it comes through. So what we're going to do is we're going to replicate that 17.5. So up here, like I say, we're going to apply it to the content wrapper only, and we only want it on the left side. We're only interested in control the left side at this point. So that's going to give us our page gutter on the left. And if we just make this, there we go. See, the page gutter is in place. Okay, there we go. We're no longer holding on to it. So we got our gutter on the left of the page. We've established that. And then we want to make sure we got the gutter here too. And so we apply that to the actual content itself. And so over here, we're going to put whatever you feel is appropriate, but I'm going to do that 17.5 again. I don't like using pixels. I'm only using pixels because I'm not using core framework or any other frameworks. And I just want to maintain that same width as what the core framework is providing us with. We should really be using something like rems. I can't think off the top of my head what the rem value is used in core framework. So I'm just going to use the pixels, but we should be using rems, or we should be using variables or something along them lines to do this properly. If we were to kind of build this in a scalable way and a maintainable way, we would have probably have some variables in place. But for this demonstration, I'm just using pixels. And so that's our gutter sorted. and it's pretty much there now. So all we need to do now is we just want to make sure this has got some padding on the top and bottom, so that if for whatever reason we get to a point where we need them, then they're there. And I'm going to use the same padding that's on my sections. And again, this is like, I think in Core Framework, this is set to something like 4XL or 3XL, which translates to 70 pixels. So for the content itself, I'm going to apply top and bottom padding of 70 pixels. So that's that. And then what I'm just going to do one final thing, just to kind of stay in line with what we had before, is the content wrapper. I'm just going to give it a background color so that we can see it, just like a light gray. Or I got a sorry, well, there we go, background surface, background body, there we go. I think that's what it was set to. So as you can see, 50-50 split. Let's save that. And let's go back to our page, and hopefully it still looks exactly the same. I've got no gaps between these. But again, this is not about getting this laid out right. It's just about getting our content in the right place. So if we go and we turn on the, we look at this now. This is less than ideal, but we'll sort out responsive layout in a moment. Let's put this in responsive mode. And so what we can see here is, oh, what's happening there? I know what we're doing wrong. So we've done that wrong. We've got to fix this too, okay? We're going to fix both these things. So let's go back to our content, and we go back to our layout. And actually, we want this to be a max width of 550. That should fix that now, I think. Let's refresh that. There we go. So now that's wrong. I'm doing the wrong thing there. Let's put that back where it belongs. Let's shrink that down. What we can see is the image is shrinking, yeah? And it's going down and down and down and down. And what we want some responsive design. We want some responsive kind of principles in place there, so that it actually changes the layout when we get down to mobile size. But when we're on tablet, you know, we can still leave it like that, but we want that image to stay in place, don't we? So the way we're going to fix that's dead easy. Let's go back to our image, and you're going to see me kind of, I say it's dead easy. We're going to say object cover, and we need to set on the wrapper, if I remember rightly, is what I did. Flex grow, set that to 1. And now, if we refresh that, is it because I need to, this is cover, did I also do it on here? Flex grow. And so there we go. So the image does, you know, we kind of lose a bit of the image, because what it's doing is by doing, let's go back to the image. We're on the image when we did, let's go to our content, object fit cover. So basically the image is going to maintain the size that it needs to be. So this image needs to change size. And because it's sort of breaking away from its dimensions, it's now becoming narrower, but the height is not changing. So we're changing the aspect ratio of the image. If we didn't set it to cover, this would kind of start becoming distorted and start squishing down. Well, instead, let's go and have a little look what happens when we do that. Let's turn object fit to fill, and let's just have a little look what that does. Is that, oh, we didn't save it. Save that, and this should now as you can see, it's getting all squished up. And we don't want that to happen. So object fit cover ensures that the image just, and as well, what we got, object position is 50-50. So it's basically saying that it will stay dead center. We can do things like, we can do focus points. Oh, sorry, this is a plugin, so we're not going to do that. We can do sort of, let's do 25% by 50%. And so now we're off center. There's the center of the image, but we've moved over. So as we grow out, we lose the right of the image faster than we lose the left of the image. So, but we're going to put it back to how it was, 50-50, and save that. So that's it pretty much done. We don't need to do anything else. It really was as simple as that. What I did say I was going to do was we're going to do some calculated widths. So to do that, let's make sure we save first, and then jump into the back end of WordPress, go to bricks, settings, and come down to our custom CSS, and we're going to do root. And we're going to put some custom variables in here. Oh, that tab does not work, so let's do 4 spaces. Dash dash to start a variable, and we're going to do, I don't know, what we're going to say, page width. Page width, and we're going to set that to what it currently is, 1100 pixels. And I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do dash dash. I'm just going to say half width. Half width. And we're going to set that to a calculated value. And we're going to say VAR page width. And we're going to say divide by 2. So that'll give us half of the width. And that way then, if we change this, if we ever want to change the width of the site, we can just come in here and change the width here. The site width will change, but so will this half width value. So to do that, we're going to copy this, and we're going to come back in here. We're going to go to our content, go back to style, go back to the maximum width. Currently it's set to 550. And we're going to say VAR dash dash. I'm going to paste that value we just copied, so half width, and that's that done. So let's go and save that. And let's go have a look at the page. And there we go, everything's working just fine. So that's that done. And then I think the only thing I've got left to show you now is how we would flip this around. So there's 2 ways of doing this. There's the right way, and then there's the wrong way. And the wrong way is to basically reorder things. And there we go. Boom, it's done, isn't it? Does exactly what you want it to do, doesn't it? We've got to sort this out. Don't worry about that. That's irrelevant to this kind of conversation we're having about the right and wrong way of doing it. We've got to do this regardless. We've got to sort this text out. We'll do that in a minute. We're just going to have a conversation about why we don't do it this way and why we do it the other way that we're going to do it. So when it comes to accessibility needs, people use screen readers, people with vision problems, you know, or any of the problems that might require dyslexia or whatever it is that somebody might have, and they use a screen reader. And what we want is for the screen reader to read this out as intended. I mean, the way we will typically read things is that we'll read the header, we'll read the text, we'll the button, and the image is just there for a bit of decoration and what have you. And what we don't want is for the screen reader to go, right, there's an image of 4 tablet computers. And the heading is, and the text is, and the button is, and the button is. We don't want that. What we want is for it to read the heading, read the text, read the buttons, and then say that there's an image. And the way we do that is we want the DOM to stay the same. We want the page layout to remain the same. So we'll move it back around like that. And what we're going to do is, instead of doing that, we're going to select the image wrapper. Make sure we're on the content here. We're going to scroll down here, and we are going to set the order to -1. It's the standard CSS property that you can use, whether you're using bricks or not. So order -1. That's not done anything there because bricks, for some reason, doesn't manage this well. Sometimes it bugs out, and so we're going to refresh the page, and it should be the right way around. Yes, there we go. It's saved anyway, so we've done exactly the same thing. But if we look at the content, the page DOM, our image wrapper still comes after our content wrapper. And so there's our content with our heading and our text and our buttons, okay? They come first and then the image comes. So the screen reader will go down, read the header, read the text, so on and so forth. So that's why we do it that way. By all means, if you want to do it the other way, then that's up to you, but that's not what we should do. We should be doing things semantically correct so that screen readers have a better time at doing their job properly. So as we can see from here, we've still got some work to do. Our text is all in the wrong place. So we can very quickly fix that. The first thing we're going to handle is we're going to change the alignment. So we're going to come to the content wrapper. We're going to go to our align items. We're going to change it from end or right. End is the proper term. Change that to start. Save that. Go back to our page. Refresh that. Everything's fine here. And you might think that's the end, but there's a bit of a tweak we need to do just to make sure things stay just right. And that is the way we did our gutters. We did our gutters previously for when this content was on the left. We added a page gutter here and we added a content gutter here. What's happening right now, let's just go and do a little something just to help visualize this, and you'll see a minor change in a little minute. When we kind of properly demonstrate this, you will see a little change happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come put a border on the content itself, okay? So let's go here, let's go and just put a right border. In fact, let's just put borders all around. Let's just do that. 1 pixel wide. Oops, sorry, I didn't do all the way around. I did opposing sides. So 1, 1. We want it to be solid, and we're just going to give it. We got a nice dark color so we can see it. There we go. We can see that now, nice and easy, can't we? Let's save that. Let's go have a look at the front end, and let's put it the responsive mode on. Move this out of the way because we don't want that. Have we refreshed this? Yep, there we go. There it is. So what we're going to get is we get down here. Look, our border is touching the edge there, yeah? And we don't want that because our content can touch the edge. Now, there is padding in here which might take care of it, but it's not quite in the right place, okay? What we've done is we've got this content container is now 550 pixels wide. However, the right edge of it is 70.5 pixels further over. We want this to be 550 pixels, this right edge, from, because that's the edge of our content everywhere else, we want that right edge to be 550 pixels from the image, not from the padding. So we just need to go and switch around things here. So our content, let's start here with a content wrapper. And let's go and do style, sorry, we're going to go to layout. You may see it differently. I am using a plugin here for I said there was no plugins, but my bricks is set up with advanced themers, so it changes things around a little bit. It doesn't affect the way the site works, it just changes the layout a bit. So we're going to go to our layout and we want to change our padding. This is effectively our page padding on the content wrapper, okay? So let's cut that out, paste that in. Save that, and let's just go and see what that's done for us. So now our content is now butt up against the image where it should be. We don't want the actual content. We need to apply the padding here. So at the moment we've got some padding over here, and which is all fine and everything. So, but we don't want the padding there. Now our padding is being taken care of by our page padding. You might want more padding here, and that's not for me to say how much padding should be here. But what we don't want is, we definitely don't want this, and we definitely don't want our content butting up against the edge of the page. So we've dealt with edge of the page. We now need to deal with this again. And so we come back to our content and we just switch this to this. Okay, save that, and now there you go. And so we just switched it around very easily by you know, just changing a few of the variables that we already set up, just switching around some of the layout. Let's make this extra wide. There we go. And you can see now that no matter how wide we go, our image stays all nicely. Oh, it's not, the image is not growing there. Let's go and look what we've done wrong. We've obviously missed something along our way. So we've got a gap there. We don't want that. Let's jump in here. Let's go have a quick look at the image. And I think we just need to set the width. Here's where we may have gone wrong. Set that to I think we should set a minimum width. Yeah, let's do a minimum width. I feel like that's probably the right thing to do. Let's go back here. Let's press refresh. There we go. So let's try that out now. Yep, it's still working all the way down there. Oh, responsive mode. Now, what are we going to do with the responsive layout? So, let's not forget that. Let's have a little look where this goes wrong then, is it? So, tablet looks fine. Mobile, you might want to change it at this point. But we definitely want to change it at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it at, I'm going to say let's change it at this point. Like I say, you could do this on just mobile view only. But we're going to change it on this point here. So what we want to do, we want to go to our content wrapper. And we're going to go back to our content here. And we're going to change, is it the, oh, sorry, the hero section, sorry. We want to be here. And we want to change this to just one FR. So we only want one column. There's that. Now, we've got this in the left, to image on the left, text on the right. So what we might want to do is, excuse my dog. He's just chilling next to me, having a little nap in this hot weather. Sorry for we digressed a little bit there. What we're doing, so we're changing this. We want to probably change this back to the other way around. So let's go to our image wrapper. And let's go and remove that -1. So we want this to, do we say 0? That'll do it. So that's moved the text back at the top. Obviously, you could do it the other way around if you want to. The important thing is just get this all right. So what we want to do is, on the content wrapper, we want to set the style. We want to give this padding on both sides. So let's do that. And then on the content itself, the width should be, the max width should be 100%. Now you might want to, if you're so inclined, you might want to then go and change this to also be all center aligned if you want to. But this is kind of optional. This is now, where do you want to go with this? Do you want to make this bigger? Again, do you want to put more padding here? Do you want to put gaps between here? What you do at this point now inside here to make this bigger now is kind of up to your own discretion. Do you want it to be 50% of the screen height? So maybe what you could do is, or for these two columns to be, rows to be the same. So maybe that's what you want to do. So maybe instead of having just one FR, we go and say that there's a repeat of 2 1 FR, so we'll get 2 rows exactly the same. Yep, we've left the border on. Let's get rid of our border. We should have done that before. Where did we set that? We set that on the border. Did we? On the content? Why is that not showing up? Content. Oh, because we're not on the desktop view. It's got desktop view, remove the border, sorry. And then so we've got no border. We should have done that before. We should have never had that on there. So now, how you lay this out now is kind of up to you, but like maybe you want that 50-50 split still. So that's what I've done there. I've given it that on the hero section, wasn't it? We said now it's repeat 1FR on the rows, and we want 1 column. So yes, that's how you could do that. Of course, you could flip it round as we started off with when we landed here. So again, as a reminder, we just go back here. We set this to, we just remove that, in fact, because that's the default, because that's what it's set here. So that's what it's going to be set here. So let's remove that back there. So you might want it that way around, image at the top and then text. It's entirely up to you how you go about that. So that's that, folks. Hope that was useful for you. I hope that's armed you with all the knowledge you need to get this done. Any questions or comments, of course, put them down below. And as always, I will at some point put a link in for the content. I will also write up the CSS for anybody working this outside of bricks, and I'll provide that link a little bit later on. And yeah, all good. That's a wrap, I think. Remember, if you enjoyed it and you want to see more of this, to like and turn on those notifications. Until next time, peace out.